Good evening, guys. I guess actually I should say good morning. I know this one is kind of late, but uh, still technically I had the day off, so I didn't lie to you guys. I'm doing this video now, even though it is kind of late. Technically I don't work till 6 tomorrow, so 6 p.m. that is. I know this episode was supposed to be um, you know what? I actually forgot what I told you guys last time. But whatever it is, we'll circle back to it. Today I want to talk about a few items. I want to talk about ectoplasm. Have you guys ever heard of this? I believe you guys have. You guys ever watched anything called just a few movies on Ghostbusters? Um, Maybe the TV show Supernatural. I've seen all of them. Pretty much what this stuff is it's a discharge of ectoplasmic material. Now, see, this happens when a spirit manifests in such a way that it builds up too much power all at once, causing itself to explode. That doesn't mean it died, it just means that it exploded. So all the material that came and all the energy that came to manifest one soul just blew up. Now, as I guess stupid as this may seem, and you guys might not believe me, but ectoplasm is not actually color. For example, in Supernatural, ectoplasm is black, and in Ghostbusters, it was green. Well, this isn't the case. Ectoplasm is actually clear. It kind of looks like, I guess, clear snot in a way. It can be very disgusting. Now, the other topic I want to talk about with you guys today is called manifestations. Now, see, a spirit can manifest itself. If it can pick up an object and make it move, or pick up an object and chuck it, then it has enough power to manifest itself. Now, what a manifestation is it's a spirit that's showing itself to you. And when it shows itself to you, in most cases, everybody can see it. But however, if the spirit is powerful enough, when it manifests, if it chooses you in particular, then nobody else can actually see the spirit. The manifestations don't happen very often as I guess you guys might think they do, just basing off TV shows and stuff like that, but it's not always the case. Not all spirits manifest themselves. And matter of fact, a manifestation is a very rare phenomenon. It doesn't happen very often. You know, the thing that's more common than a spirit manifestation is actually called EVP. And for those of you that don't know what EVP is, it's an abbreviation for electronical voice phenomenon. What this is an EVP is a light microphone that is stuck to kind of like a tape recorder. It's a device you guys have seen at Walmart. It's literally called a EVP recorder or just a recorder. These things have such light microphones that they can pick up every little tiny sound in the room, even ones we can't hear with our own ears. Now, when a spirit talks, usually it speaks into the device with kind of like a loudness to it because it's right up there towards the microphone. How you actually get the difference between Class A EVPs, Class B, and Class C is Class C EVPs are weak and they're not always intelligent. Class B EVPs are kind of intelligent. They'll answer some questions, but for the most part, it's almost like they're on a recording. And Class A EVPs are both intelligent, strong, and loud. Now, what this means is that, say you ask the question of, what is your name? And in over a 2-second, maybe 3-second time period, you get a voice that comes through that says name. Okay? Says what its name is. Or in some cases, these spirits even say your name because, they can. which means that's probably they're calling out to you in a shape, form, and way. But that is the difference between Class A, Class B, and Class C EVPs. The other thing I want to talk about is a broad spectrum. So, like, I'm sure you guys have seen, if you guys have seen Ghost Adventures, an infrared spectrum or a broad spectrum is an infrared spectrum that is broadened out. It can see multiple different colors. The other thing is these spectrums are invisible to our eyes, meaning that we can't see them, but we can pick up things that are in that spectrum. For example, if it's in, let's say, the warmer area of the spectrum, okay, we're going to be able to pick up those type of spirits manifestations. All a infrared spectrum does, even an infrared broadened spectrum, all it does is make it easier for us to see spirits. We don't always capture them on infrared because sometimes we don't always have the right equipment to be able to do so. But for the most part, you know, if you guys happen to see a spirit, it's probably going to be with an infrared or a manifestation. Like I said, rare but not uncommon for both cases. Let's see, let's talk about demonic activity versus demons versus demonic spirits. Okay? Now, I know what you guys are thinking. You guys are probably thinking that isn't a demonic spirit the same thing as a demon, or demon activity the same thing as demons. Not in all cases. See, when a person dies, have you guys ever heard of the lore of reapers? Okay. These are not what you think they are. For example, I'm pretty sure you guys have all heard the bedtime story of the Grim Reaper or something like that. It's nothing like that. It's not even a death person. It's not a god. These are omens. So like reapers, they're living, breathing omens. The only difference is in most of the lore I've ever read, we can't see them. Each single one of us has a reaper that follows us around. When it's our time to go, they literally take us. But they give us a choice. You see, every move you make, every decision you contemplate, every decision you actually complete has a consequence. They're not always good and they're not always bad. But in most cases, we have a choice even after death. See, what Reaper does is that not only does it make you die, but it asks you to follow it. Now, what Reaper does is if you do follow the Reaper, it's either going to take you to heaven or it's going to take you down to hell. But that's not always the case. If you decide not to follow it, which you can't make that decision, you're a free spirit. You have freedom and rights just like every other spirit that walks around. If you decide that you want to stay, you don't want to follow it, then they're going to let you stay. But they're going to warn you. And the only warning is, in most lore that I've ever read about Reapers taking the spirit or soul, they warn you that if you do stay, that through time, watching people die and pass on, eventually it's going to torture you to the point where you become angry. When you do this, you become what's known as a vengeful spirit. Now, we've already went over a vengeful spirit. Now, that takes possibly hundreds of years, maybe a good 1,000. It just depends on how strong you are as a spirit or as a soul. But eventually, what it all comes down to is, after you get to that vengeful spirit stage, maybe 1,000 years or maybe 1,000,000 years later, you become what's known as a demonic spirit. So over time, your mind has tortured yourself so bad that you go from a basic spirit to a vengeful spirit to a demonic spirit. And the demonic spirit is the last and final stage. Typically, these spirits can lay hands on the living, can hurt the living, and can threaten the living, and actually kill the living if they want to. In most cases, they don't. But the weirdest part is they can also possess the living. Um, in most cases, they just want to be left alone. They're tired of watching people die, and they're tired of watching people live, knowing that it's something that they're never going to get back, and so it tortures them in such a way that over time they just become insane, and they become angry every time they see something that isn't like them. Okay, the next thing we're going to talk about is possession. Okay, possession goes through multiple different steps. Typically, a spirit needs to feed off the energy. It can be negative, it can be positive, whatever the case may be. It could be energy from your cell phone, energy from your batteries. We've already went through this, I know. But typically, when they suck that energy, they're getting ready to do something that could be good or bad. A lot of times, it leads to possession. The reason why it leads to possession so many times is because spirits, the dead, they want to live. They want to walk around just like you and I. But they can't. And the reason why they can't is because they're not powerful enough to actually make it so that they can walk around 24/7 with being seen. Now, as awful as that sounds, they chose to stay here on Middle Earth, which is not always bad, but it's not always good. Okay? First part of possession is tearing you down. What this means is you're going to go through either a lot of negativity or you're constantly going to feel drained. Every time you get up in the morning, you're going to feel like you have no energy left. Or every time, say you have a partner, you're married, or you have a girlfriend, they're sleeping right next to you. If you both wake up, a lot of times the spirit's going to fill the room with so much negativity that you constantly find something to pick at each other about, constantly fight with each other, and it feeds off that negativity that you're giving the room. It feeds, it literally gives the food to the room, and you take that food and add on to it, pretty much. Which in return, it eats. So picture negativity, the food on the plate. Okay? Now, then what it's going to do is it's going to torture you slowly. What this means is you're going to feel like you're going fucking nuts. It could start with your car keys staying on the counter, and when you wake up in the morning, the car keys are behind the couch, or they're somewhere else, they're on the floor, or whatever. And you're going to constantly think to yourself, I could have sworn I left the keys on the counter, blah, 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 blah. But in all reality, it wants you to think that way. That way you start feeling like you're going a little bit crazy, a little psychotic. Eventually, you go to the third step, which you're going to start hearing noises. And a lot of times your partner isn't going to hear these noises. I don't know why it's not like that. It's a lot of these paranormal facts, or a lot of what we know about the paranormal is, it's a tad bit glitchy. But in most cases, like I said, you're going to start hearing noises, and your partner may not hear them. And in some cases, you both hear them. Either way it works, it happens. Then you're going to start seeing things. It wants you to see it. It wants you to walk around. It wants you to know it's there. That way, you're primed and ready for the picking. It's kind of like plumbing you up for the buffet. What's going to do next is the final stage. It's called possession. See, the difference between spirits and demons, or demonic spirits, is that spirits need permission from the living to access. The reason why is because they're not strong. They're not strong whatsoever. So a lot of times, they need your permission so they can go in willingly and show you what they need to show you, or tell you something that they need to show you. But just as quickly as you can let them do that, you can also push them back out. In most cases, when a spirit takes over the body, a regular spirit, there's no need for an exorcism, and that's why. It's because the spirit is naturally so weak, it can't keep control of your body, unless you're willing to let it in. A demonic spirit, however, can forcefully take this body in possession state. It'll do the same thing as a demon. The only difference being the demonic spirit takes longer to go through these steps than a demon does. A demon can go through these steps as easy 1, 2, 3. 3 nights. That's all you need. That's all it needs is 3 nights. Plain out. A demonic spirit needs 5 nights. And sometimes, in most cases, a little bit more. Now we've already went through the witching hour and steps of 3, so you guys know why it's 3 nights and why it takes a little bit longer for a demonic spirit to be able to do this. Now, the last and final thing is demonic activity. What this is it's not necessarily evil, okay? Our definition of evil over the years has been diluted. We think anything bad is evil now. That's not always the case. Demonic activity isn't always evil. Demonic activity is more like an aggressive way to get you the hell out. That's all it is. It's pretty cut up and dry. I mean, for the most part, it just wants you out. They don't care who you are. It just wants you out. So in this case, demonic activity is just a demonic spirit using demonic activity to get you the fuck away from it. Because they don't want you there. You're not welcomed. In its mind, that's its place. It doesn't need nor want you there. So in most cases, it's better to purify the house. And a lot of times, I guess you could do seances. I mean, I've never seen one actually fully work. The one that I've seen work a lot of times is burning sage and reading from the Bible. That one actually does work. Or you can do my personal favorite. It is a strong purifier, and it's really, really good. I can't ever remember the name of it, but you get a whole bunch of white candles, and you need 3 on each corner of each room through the house. And then you're going to start from the area where the most activity is at, and you're going to start kind of like an exorcism, except for it's a little bit different. The words are in Latin, but it's not quite an exorcism. You're pretty much telling any evil, remaining, nor good spirit that it has to leave the premises. This is not its place anymore, it's yours, and that it needs to go out. And the reason why I say 3 white candles is because 3, there are 1, 2, 3 of the Holy Trinity. And the white symbolizes purity. And the flame symbolizes the bush that burnt for Moses. The bush that God literally burned to be able to talk to Moses, so he could rescue his people that were slaves and get them safe and start a new colony. That's what the fire represents on the white candle in steps of 3. Now, the reason why this purification is so strong is because the demons may be mocking the Holy Trinity, but if you do it like this, the Holy Trinity is mocking the demon for mocking it, or mocking the spirits for mocking it. Because believe it or not, it doesn't have to be just demons that do things in steps of 3. Any spirit can do it. Sometimes it gets really hard to tell if you got a spirit infestation, a spirit inflammation. I can't pronounce it, but you guys get the gist. Infestation. Spirit infestation doesn't have to be a demon infestation. Sometimes it gets really hard to tell which one's what. But through the end of it, when it comes down to the states of possession, or it comes down to demonic activity, you'll be able to pick these up right away. And the other thing is, the last part of my purification, you need burning sage and holy water. And you need a cross. Not just any type of cross. The cross has to be pure of something. It can be pure metal, pure iron, pure gold, pure silver. But it has to be completely pure of something. But that means that it has to be 100% gold, 100% iron, 100% metal, 100% silver. You guys get the gist. It has to be 100% something. What you're going to do is you're going to take the holy water and you're going to kind of like drip it on the cross. Then while you're saying the verse from Latin, you're going to be able to hold that holy watered cross that is pure and go to each room of the house while still speaking in Latin. Now, you may have to say the verses maybe 2, maybe 3 times, but eventually it'll do the damn trick. The other thing is, for the last part is, as you blow out each candle, make sure you have some sage burning and you're carrying the sage. The reason why is because any remaining spirit, I don't know why, none of us really know, but it's like the smell of sage. It's so pure that it irritates them. And 9 times out of 10, they'll leave the room to get away from the sage. So as you're blowing out each individual candle, you want to slowly walk. And as you walk through the house, you want to hold the sage up to each corner of the room. And as you're heading out, you want to open the door and literally step outside. The reason why is because now all the spirits are outside. You've purified the house. You've made a boundary. You've made a shield. And now they can't get back in for a very, very, very long time. Just like most purifications or most pure spell works or whatever you guys are using. I believe the Wiccans have something that's similar to purifications too, to get rid of evil spirits. Gargoyles, for some reason, do the trick too. I don't know why. I always found them super creepy, but they do the trick. Like I said, nothing lasts forever though, so eventually that house will run out of being pure. And keep in mind that even though you bless the house and you made pure now, that eventually any negativity that you have, or any screaming or anything that sounds negative, it's going to unpurify the house just as quickly as you purified it. Okay, that's it guys. I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. If you guys like it, please subscribe. Again, if you guys want to leave comments, tell me what I could do to make this experience better for you guys. And if you guys really do like the channel, please subscribe. If you guys are believers, that's good. If you guys aren't believers, well, hopefully these videos are making you believers and it's more interesting for you. I think the next episode I'll probably be next Friday as well. And I think I'm going to do what most people believe heaven and hell and Middle Earth should be for spirits. I'll go through the steps and everything. I'll have to add a couple things because there's not much lore on these places. The other thing is I might go through pagan religion and stuff like that. Some stuff is really cut and dry. So the next video shouldn't take as long. But that's everything, guys. Thank you.